afternoon, and welcome to Alongside Lauren. I am Lauren, and I'm so glad that we get to hang out for a little bit this Sunday afternoon while I get a few bits and pieces prepared to make my life this week a little bit easier. This week, I am having a go at vegetarian lasagna, and it's this is not something that we normally do, vegetarian lasagna, and we are still in the process of trying to ease things back a little bit after having indulged a reasonable amount over our Christmas holiday. So we are still very much in the mode of trying to ease back a little bit, but we thought that it would be fantastic this week to have a little bit of a treat compared to what we would normally have. So, to try and keep those calories down, we figured that we would go with a vegetarian option so that we can still have the cheesiness and the creaminess and deliciousness of the lasagna without some of the extra calories that sometimes that beef mince can add. So, we were also we were gifted this week of a 3 litre bottle of milk that was really close to its use by date. And so I used that 3 litre bottle of milk to create some ricotta, which we are also going to use in that vegetarian lasagna. So I'm really focused on this week using a few bits and pieces up. We've made veggie stock concentrate with bits and pieces in the freezer, and also used some other bits and pieces from our freezer to create the vegetarian red lentil bolognese that we're going to be using for our vegetarian lasagna. Now, Mr. Barker is feeling a little poorly, so he's not going to be hanging out in the kitchen, but he is going to be a disembodied voice, which is
Yes,
in the
yes.
background,
Hello,
keeping
everybody.
me company from a safe distance. So,
That's
first and
correct.
foremost, we have got the lentil bolognese mix, which I have had cooking in the Thermomix since about 11 o'clock this morning. So it was able to slow cook with the red lentils. We've also got mushrooms in there. And we thought, seeing as we are kind of just using bits and pieces up, that that's not an excuse for it not to be delicious, and that we really wanted to elevate those flavors. So I also used some dried. Oh, I can't believe I forgot the word for truffle. Dried truffle in there as well, which is going to be really, really amazing. So we were going to just go with your stock standard spinach with our ricotta to go into the lasagna for this week. But silver beet was on sale for us at our supermarket, so silver beet it is. It worked out to be a little bit cheaper per kilo compared to just getting the frozen stuff or the stuff in the packet. So I am going to just take the sort of chunkier white bits, and we're going to chop those down and cook them down because they are delicious, but they definitely require a little bit more thought and a little bit more cooking than just the green bits.
It is interesting how they tear away the leaves.
Yeah.
It's kind of convenient
Until it's not.
until it's not.
No, so this will be really, really good. So the particular recipe that I used for the lentil bolognese is one which comes with the sort of guided cookbook that you can get with the Thermomix, and it is specifically designed to sort of use up your vegetable scraps and bits and pieces. So very much up our alley. And it uses red lentils, which I bought 3 kilos of because I don't know why. I don't know why I did it to begin with. And then I used up the 3 kilo bag and then bought another 3 kilo bag.
Lots and lots.
Yeah, so I'm slicing this up a little bit like how you would slice up like celery or something like that.
Is it a little bit woody like celery in that like you can
It's
get
not
those
as, it
strands?
can be a bit fibrous, but
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't think it's as fibrous as celery. But you will find that with the Thermomix, the Thermomix doesn't go great with chopping fibrous stuff.
My theory is their blades aren't that sharp on the Thermomix, and that's so that you don't cut your fingers off when you're getting it the blades in and out of the unit. Would that be right?
Possibly,
Yeah.
or maybe it's just one of those things where like they just struggle with that because of the way that like it's a rotary thing and it just
Mm.
struggles with it. A little bit like a lot of those sort of domestic mulching devices will really struggle with um palm
Oh,
fronds because
yeah,
palm
okay.
fronds are really fibrous.
Yep. So you need a very, very, very sharp
Yeah.
blade to be able to cut through it. Yep.
Yeah. So there's a
Okay.
fair amount of
There's a lot there, which is great.
all the veg. Well, I guess it is a vegetarian lasagna, so it stands to reason that I would not skimp on the veg.
Alrighty. So that's chopped. What's the next
So
thing?
what I was thinking was that I would just sort of cook this down in the Thermomix for a little bit to get it to soften.
Yep.
So I'll pop that in
Excellent.
and I'll add in some garlic because why not?
Always a bit of a favorite.
Yeah. Now I made veggie stock concentrate today, just with like bits and pieces that I had in the freezer, but it is a particularly alarming shade, this batch.
Oh, yes.
So I believe the
Look at
color
that colour.
well, you described it as looking akin to liver, which
I did. It was a bit
is
mean.
but fair. But the reason, don't be alarmed. The reason why it looks like that is because I had quite a lot of purple cabbage leaves in there. So
So what size spoon have you got going on there?
I've got a teaspoon. I just popped in 2 teaspoons worth of garlic.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to put in, it's going to seem like a lot, but why? Why am I getting a teaspoon for the veggie stock concentrate? I'm going to put in a pretty decent amount of the veggie stock concentrate, so like a full tablespoon. But keep in mind that that is going to be the flavor base for the ricotta mixture as well. So you want it to be fairly flavoursome. Yeah. Whew, there we go.
Give it all a bit of a blitz.
Well, I won't need to blitz it so much as just cook it now. So I'll put it on for 4 minutes. And just let that cook away.
Awesome.
So while that finishes prepping, I'm going to get the silver beet mix, like silver beet veggies, the leaves sliced. And then I'll need to decide what cheese I want to put in.
Tough
The important
decision.
questions. Yes.
I've got a suggestion.
All of them.
Exactly.
There we go.
How did you know?
So you will find that because silver beet is a little bit hardier than like spinach or rocket, that you will want to slice it fairly thinly. So that you don't end up with like big bits of uncooked silver beet.
So are you going to cut it in both directions to make it really small pieces, or is it just
I wasn't going to. I was just going to do
long
it
and
sort of
skinny?
long ways.
Yep.
So the thing with lasagna is that I love it, but it's so time consuming and takes well, I find it time consuming. Worth it, but time consuming. So that's all chopped. Oh, maybe I should have grated the cheese before I did the. Oh, well, is what it is.
Well, show us the ricotta while you're there.
So this this is all of the ricotta that I got out of 3 liters worth of trim milk.
Okay, so it's like what, less than 1 liter by the time
Yeah,
it's.
yeah. So there's really not a whole lot
I guess
there.
that's because trim milk doesn't have much to it.
Yeah, I guess like it just you don't have as much of like the fat and the sort of the proteins there to kind of uh, go through the curdling process that makes the cheese, which is fun.
Still,
So
it was milk that was ready to be thrown out. So
yep, so we were able to
taking second
rescue
rate,
it.
taking second rate, turning it
And
first rate.
yes, which
Uh-huh.
is my aim. I'm trying to decide if I should add in a wee bit of basil into the ricotta mix.
I mean,
It's not a classic flavor pairing, so
would you like me to go get you some basil?
no, I'll be right. So the silver beet is smelling good, even if it is now a slightly alarming color as a result of me having added in the veggie stock concentrate.
So I see you pulled an egg out.
So I have pulled an egg out. I've also got
And?
in this container is an egg because
Oh,
as well because I accidentally cracked the top of it when I was putting something into the fridge today. But because I cracked it, so
you knew what
it's
was
perfect.
going on.
I knew it was going on. It's perfectly fine, and I knew that I was going to be adding in 2 eggs to the ricotta mix.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
So that's all good. I'll just see how that silver beet has cooked down. Okay, so it's cooking down a bit, but it's probably not quite as cooked as I would like. Like there's still a bit of give to it, so we want it to be a bit softer.
Mm-hmm.
So I reckon I'm just going to cook that for another couple of minutes.
Sure.
And I'll get the other. I'll keep getting on with the other bits and pieces while that happens. But I do, yeah, I love sort of taking something like this and figuring out the different bits and pieces that we can do to try and make it, yeah, a bit more interesting, a bit more exciting than just your standard garden variety vegetarian lasagna. So I'll crack in the 2 eggs. We've got 1 egg already there. Add egg number 2. And I am interested to find out what the weight of that ricotta is, just for interest's sake. And it is 488, so pretty close to 500 grams.
Right, 500 grams from 3 liters of
3
milk.
liters of milk.
Whew.
And I also have, as a result, a lot of whey, like a lot. Well, about 2.5 liters worth of whey to be exact. So
I guess so.
Yeah, 488 grams. So I will mix that together. So the reason why we add the egg is so I much prefer using ricotta instead of a traditional white sauce or bechamel in lasagna. one, it's so much easier to make than a bechamel or a white sauce. I also find, or for me, because white sauce is flour based, and then you're kind of just adding like more carb on top of pasta, I guess. So I just prefer to do it this way. And we add the egg to kind of help bind the ricotta, and you'll just find that you'll end up with a much nicer layer of the ricotta within the lasagna than what you would if you just had the ricotta by itself. So I'll just continue to mix that egg in. It also adds a really lovely richness, I find.
Yeah, that is starting to look really good. I'm salivating a little bit, and we haven't even gotten to the layering or anything.
Now, I probably did drain the ricotta a little bit too much. So it's probably a little bit drier than what I would normally like.
You know I prefer a drier lasagna, though.
I know you do. So I am just going to add...
I think a lot of people do. I don't think I'm alone on that.
Yeah, like I don't think I'm trying to think of a...
It's got to be said. A super sloppy lasagna isn't...
It is unpleasant.
Isn't what everybody wants, I don't reckon.
All right, so that silver beet is starting to cook down really nicely.
Where to go?
Which is really good. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the silver beet leaves that we've chopped up into the Thermomix as well, and cook them for a couple of minutes with the stems. So again, like if you were using spinach, you wouldn't go through this stage because it is so much softer than the spinach. But, and I also reckon that you can kind of get away with the flavor of undercooked spinach compared to undercooked silver beet. I've done it before when I haven't gone through the process of cooking the silver beet down, and I just don't think it was as nice, in my opinion. And I guess my opinion is the one that counts.
Well, it is, if you're the one cooking.
And the one eating, probably
And
more importantly. So I've got that ricotta mix there, but I am going to add in a touch of the whey.
Oh, okay. So you do want to make it a little bit gooier.
I'll make it not too liquidy, but just a little bit. So I captured all of the whey that I had drained off the ricotta. And that is a really helpful thing to have for splashing on your phone and for adding to dishes where you would, in baking, when you would often use like buttermilk or even milk, depending on the recipe, you can add the whey in instead. Or I have used whey when we have made porridge. I won't sort of substitute it in for the whole amount, but for part of it. And I've also used whey successfully to make mashed potato. So I'll just add in a little bit more, keeping in mind that we don't want this to be too liquidy. And that will be perfect. So just while that silver beet mix finishes cooking, I am going to start the assembly process.
Cool.
So I've got just a glass Pyrex dish here that I'm going to spray. And I've got it sitting on that chopping board there because I'm a grub and I know that I'm going to spill on the bench.
So what's the first layer?
So the first layer will be the delicious red lentil bolognese.
Okay, cool.
Mm. So you can see that the silver bit has cooked down, but it hasn't lost the vibrancy that we had there.
Hmm. Nice and bright green. Oh, okay. And you're putting it straight in the sauce, are you?
Bring it straight into the ricotta.
Yep. Yeah, sorry, the white sauce, I guess. Oh, it's getting full, that bowl.
Yes, it is. Here I was worried that we
Captain
wouldn't.
Obvious stating
Thank you, darling.
here to.
Here I was worried that I wouldn't have enough.
Mm-hmm. Now, might
I
be
think
going
I'll
the
have
other
enough.
way.
Perfect. And then I'll gently mix that in.
Mm-hmm. That looks great.
So the inclusion of the stems is definitely a personal preference.
Did you talk about how you went about making the ricotta, like what the steps are?
No, so it's quite easy, but really all it is heating the milk to just under boiling, adding in lemon juice, and then waiting and letting that curdle, and then you sort of allow the curds and the whey. So the curds are like the chunky cheese bits,
Mm-hmm.
and then the whey is the liquidy bits. And then once you have given that an opportunity to kind of just sit and separate, then adding a tea towel to line a sieve,
Mm-hmm.
and then straining it. So it's not difficult, just a little bit time consuming.
How long would it have taken you to go from start to finish on that one?
A couple hours.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just let it covered, sort of strain in the fridge overnight. So
Yep. Yep. So it's a long process,
it's
but
a long
most of it's
process,
in the
but
fridge.
it is, and it's not complicated.
Mm-hmm.
So
Cool.
alrighty, so we have our delicious lentil bolognese that we have here. I'm going to pour half or
Layer number one.
thereabouts.
Nice.
This has just smelled so good cooking away today.
It has, yeah, the whole house. It smelled very nice.
So I know that our feelings on an overly sloppy lasagna have been made well known,
Mhm.
but you do still need to make sure that you have a bit of liquid in there so that the lasagna sheets
Of
can
course.
cook. So speaking of lasagna sheets,
Lasagna sheets.
so we've got a couple of 250-gram packets here.
Mm-hmm.
I've bought extra because I'm notorious for needing extra.
You feel like you're on the money, and then you're just a few shy,
Yes, and I have been known to top it up with
like fettuccine and stuff
fettuccine
from
and
memory.
stuff. Yeah.
It works, kind of. Now it's like a jigsaw puzzle.
It is a little bit like a jigsaw puzzle. So that is that first layer
Mm-hmm.
done. And
So
now I'm
then,
going to add in about half of the ricotta silver bitty mix.
excellent. Even if you don't like spinach, which I'm not in that camp, but even if you don't, I reckon it's a delicious meal there.
Oh, totally. And if you don't like spinach, or if the concept of the silver beet doesn't float your boat, that's fine. Don't
Hmm.
add it. You
Hmm.
can just do ricotta. But for me, it just smells so good. I don't know, it will taste amazing. Well, I'm reasonably confident it will taste amazing.
Yeah. We can smell it. We know it's going to taste amazing. Alrighty, so that's first combination of layers.
First combination of layers.
Excellent.
And now we go on to the next
Mm-hmm.
layer of lasagna sheets.
Nice.
You're right about it being a jigsaw puzzle.
Mm. Find the gaps.
And the pasta will expand a little bit, but
Yep.
and then I'll just add in the rest of
Oh,
the
excellent.
lentil bolognese. So there's mushrooms in here, and yeah, we used some of the dried truffle.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited by that.
Yeah.
We haven't used our dried truffle yet, have we?
No.
We've only used the little jar of truffle that we
Yeah,
had.
of truffle paste. So
A little while back, we headed to a food and wine festival and
yeah.
found a truffle stall. So we bought two very, very, very small jars
Yep.
for a reasonably large amount of money
Yep.
for their size, that is. So we've been very keen to try this one. Very keen. Looks good to me, huh?
Nice and smoothed out.
No white sauce yet?
No. So the
Okay.
white sauce goes on top of the lasagna sheets.
Ah, righto. So the order is your meat sauce, which for us is a veggie sauce,
Yeah. Well, yeah. I guess like
and
your
then
bolognese.
yep, the bolognese, sorry, and then um a layer, no, and then cheese. I can't remember. What was the order that you ended up going with?
So it's bolognese, pasta, ricotta, pasta, bolognese,
Bolognese,
pasta,
pasta,
ricotta,
ricotta,
and then there'll be
a bit of
some
cheese on top.
cheese on top.
Nice. That's coming together nicely.
Yeah. But it is definitely a bit of a labor of love. I'm impressed with
Hmm.
people that can do this like on a weekday.
Oh yeah. No, I think the people that have lasagna on a weekday are like us and it's prepared in some way or another, whether it be bought from the store prepared or prepared on a weekend, because huge effort otherwise.
Oh, yeah. And if we did this, we wouldn't be eating dinner until
Midnight,
midnight.
but that's okay.
Excellent. So I'm really glad that I got the extra box of lasagna sheets because that was just not quite enough as it
Ah,
stood.
okay.
So
So
it's perfect.
we've got a heap of extra lasagna sheets there.
Yeah, but I figure
How long do
that'll last for
lasagna
a
sheets last?
while.
Yeah.
And I'll just get it like next time we do it, I'll just buy one box and
Mm-hmm.
I'll be right. So we'll just put the
Remaining
down the
ricotta.
final layer.
Great. That is looking so good.
I'm really excited about it. Just scraping out every skerrick of ricotta in there.
Cool, it's looking pretty full. That's exciting. Oh, I like all the lumps on it. I think that they're going to
Yeah.
go really well in the oven.
Yeah.
Lumps are good,
All
crispy bits and stuff like that.
right.
That is looking excellent.
So I'll
Wow.
just wanted to make sure that I got
Every last skerrick.
every last skerrick.
Way to go. Oof. Mm.
Yeah, I think that's gonna be really good.
Mm. That is looking absolutely beautiful.
So what I'll do now is I'm going to top that with some alfoil just to give it that sort of first half hour in the oven because we don't want the top to get brown too quickly.
Oh, okay. So, and you're not going to put the cheese on top yet?
Not quite yet.
Right.
So I will grate the cheese and get the cheese ready, but pop it in the oven now with alfoil. And then pop the cheese on sort of for the last 15 minutes or thereabouts. And
Nice.
Bob's your uncle. So I'll just get the alfoil on and get it in the oven and sort of go through that process. And then grate the cheese and then I think
the next thing will be maybe a photo of a finished product.
I think so. And I was going to say sitting down with a glass of wine, but yeah, sure.
Yes, that sounds great.
I'm
not sure how much wine I should be having right now, but a glass of wine for you by all means, son.
So I'm just going to spray the alfoil with a little bit of spray oil.
That makes sense.
Just to help it to stop from sticking.
Now, is there a risk that it's going to leak out the sides?
Possibly. So I'm thinking...
Grab a nice big tray. Yeah, sweet.
And in we go. So I'll just set the
Fantastic.
timer for 30 minutes.
And while you do some cheese grating,
Yeah.
we might say farewell.
I think so. So, thank you so much for joining me. I hope that you have taken a few moments this Sunday afternoon to also get bits and pieces prepped. We will definitely be showing you some photos of the finished product of our vegetarian lasagna. I know that both Heath and I are really looking forward to
Oh,
dinners this
yes.
week. And we can't wait to do it all again with you next Sunday on Alongside Lauren.